My wealthy uncle took me in after my parents abandoned me at 13. 15 years later, they showed up at the will reading, smirking and expecting millions, until my uncle's lawyer revealed the truth and left them pale. Oh, the sheer audacity of some people. You know that feeling when you think you finally closed a painful chapter, only for the ghosts of your past to reappear, not for closure, but for a piece of your inheritance? That's exactly where I was, Della, 28 years old, standing in a plush law firm waiting room, my eyes still swollen from Uncle Walter's funeral, when they walked in, Frank and Elaine, my parents. 15 years of absolute silence, and suddenly, there they were, draped in cheap knockoff jewelry, exchanging smug glances as if they were already counting the millions they expected to inherit. It was sickening. My childhood in Pittsburgh was, well, idyllic isn't a word I'd ever use. Our apartment building was crumbling, sirens were our lullaby, and the constant smell of mold was just home. 4 of us crammed into one bedroom, Tommy and I sharing a pull-out couch. Most nights Mom or Dad or both were gone, leaving me the older sister to play parent. Dad, Frank, was a construction worker, but his real passion was the bookies. Payday meant a trip to the corner store, then the bookie, then hours of disappearance. Sometimes he'd come back jubilant, showering us with ice cream and empty promises. More often he'd stumble home drunk, reeking of cheap whiskey. His mood as volatile as a summer storm. One minute he was crying, swearing his love, the next he was throwing plates because dinner was cold. You're just like your uncle, always judging me. He'd snap if I ever dared ask where the rent money went. I learned early to become invisible, to read his moods like a survival guide. Mom, Elaine, worked at a department store makeup counter. She was beautiful, but in a brittle, expensive-looking way she couldn't actually afford. Her paychecks went to designer knockoffs and costume jewelry, always chasing the glamorous life she thought she deserved. In her mind, Tommy and I were the anchors that had dragged her down. I could have been a model, she'd sigh looking at old photos. I could have been somebody before I got stuck with you too. Tommy, 3 years younger, was a gentle soul plagued by asthma, but with this incredible talent for drawing. He had Dad's dark curls, Mom's delicate features, and a heart too big for our broken home. From the day he was born, I appointed myself his protector. I'd make sure he took his medicine, help him with homework, and most importantly, step in front of any anger that threatened to engulf him. Food was a constant battle. I became an expert at making a single jar of peanut butter last for days, cutting sandwiches into 4 tiny triangles to make them seem more substantial. I knew which neighbors might offer a meal if I casually mentioned our stove was broken, and which school clubs offered snacks at their meetings. School was my escape, my ticket out. I maintained perfect grades. I understood intuitively that this was my only shot. My 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Winters, saw it. She'd always save an extra carton of milk for me, sometimes slipping granola bars into my backpack when no one was looking. You are a bright girl, Della, she'd say, her eyes kind. Don't let anything dim your light. My best friend Lucy lived in a stable, middle-class home with a full refrigerator and parents who worked regular hours. Her house became my sanctuary, a place to disappear when the fighting got too loud. Lucy's mom never asked questions, just set an extra place at the table. My 8th birthday is burned into my memory. Neither of my parents remembered the date. I went to school trying to convince myself I didn't care. I was too old for parties anyway. That evening on my pillow, I found a small package wrapped in newspaper comics. Tommy had saved his lunch money for weeks to buy me a plastic bracelet with purple beads. He'd made a card from construction paper scraps he'd rescued from the school trash can. That night, full story on the channel. Link below. Click now and watch what happened next.